The first official season of XDefiant is finally here, and with the addition of a handful of new weapons and a bunch of gameplay changes, the community is starting to get their first true look at what this game could actually be like long term. Back when the game came out, we did a list. We went over what I thought were the 10 best guns in the game. But now that Season 1 is out and the meta has developed and some balancing changes have been made, I think it's a good time. It's a good time to do an updated list and give you newer players to XDefiant that may have just jumped in an idea of what weapons you should be using to stay ahead of the curve. And of course, if you're a seasoned XDefiant player, you let me know in the comments which of these weapons are ones we didn't put on here that should be on there. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. And these are going to be the 10 best Season 1 XDefiant guns. Now, without further introduction, let's jump in. At number 10, the P90. Now, it's seen quite a boost in popularity among the community, largely due to the simple fact that more people are actually unlocking it. Back when the game came out, the P90 was kind of an afterthought due to the fact that it was kind of a grind to unlock, so most people weren't putting the time into using it, and they weren't. They just continued to play with the guns they already unlocked and a bunch of attachments. But now, we've had time to play around with it. It's clear. It's a very powerful weapon once you get it kitted out. The giant magazine makes it a great choice for a game like XDefiant, where the health pools are relatively large and the recoil is pretty manageable. The damage per shot isn't amazing, but this is more of a bullet hose than anything else, and it fits that role perfectly. The P90 may be a bit of a grind to unlock and level up, but I think it's worth your time because the end result is a high-tier weapon that I think that is only outperformed by one other SMG in the game, which we will talk about a little later in this video. If you guys need anything from G2A.com, use code CHAOS for some cash back, whether you're getting that next Steam code or a PC game, whatever it is, the link is at the top of the description. At number 9, the M4. This might be a surprising placement for those of you who watched our first video on the topic because I initially put the M4 very close to the top. And I think a lot of you guys did as well in your own personal rankings. But as time has gone on, more guns have begun to get more experimented with. I think the M4 has certainly fallen down the tier list. Granted, being the 9th best gun in the entire game is not a bad thing, and the M4 is certainly a good rifle, but it's not quite as good as we initially thought. The high fire rate, low recoil are good attributes, but the damage, it leaves a little bit to be desired compared to the other rifles that can hit a lot harder. If you're looking for a solid, well-rounded rifle that will basically get any job done effectively, then the M4 is right there. It's a great gun for getting the hang of the fundamentals of the game as well. But if you're looking for something that's going to melt enemy players and get you on top of the leaderboards every game, you might want to stick around to see what ranks in the top 5. At number 8, the LVOAC. This is one of the new weapons that was added with the Season 1 update, and while it has many similarities with the M4, I think it's slightly better for a couple reasons. Compared to other rifles, the C has a very fast fire rate, extremely quick time to kill, but the trade-off is some high recoil. It can make it difficult to use beyond mid-range, but if you can manage to stay on target, which is an if, the time to kill, it can be incredible if you're someone who likes to play close to mid-range but not quite as aggressive enough for an SMG or shotgun. This gun is probably going to be your best friend. It's basically an M4, but slightly more fine-tuned for close-range combat, and so far, the community seems to be liking it. I put it at number 8 for now, but as is the case with many new weapons and multiplayer shooters, its rank will probably change as time goes on and the community experiments with different builds. At number 7, the M44. When XDefiant first came out, a lot of people thought the M44 was the best sniper in the game, and while that's probably not the case anymore, I think it's still a top 10 gun overall. It's supposed to be the slower but stronger bolt-action sniper, meaning it's probably not the best choice for aggressive playstyles, but it's still a one-shot beast from long ranges, which makes it great for people who like to play defensively. They like to hold down objectives from a safe distance. The fire rate, it's slow. The handling, it's a little clunky until you get used to it, but the power in each shot, it's pretty insane. Usually drops targets with a single shot. Even if you get a hit marker with the M44, you will leave the target with just a shred, a smidgen of health. And it makes it easy to finish them off with a pistol, assuming a teammate doesn't pick them off first and give you an assist. It is a great defensive weapon. But there is one other sniper that has taken over the meta in the last few weeks, especially after the Season 1 update, and we will also talk about that one very soon. At number 6, the MK20. Now, it's remained a high-tier weapon since XDefiant launched. It's not hard to see why. It's remained basically untouched since launch day, and while it's certainly harder to use than other guns in the game, a lot of people have been putting in the hours to get consistent and unlock its full potential. Semi-auto marksman rifle can drop targets with 2 bullets from basically anywhere. Makes it one of the most deadliest guns in the entire game, although it's obviously not a great pick for super aggressive classes or spray and pray type players. But being able to pick people off with a couple shots, that's insanity. Some of the craziest gameplays I've watched have been with the MK20. Again, it's not an easy gun to use. Certainly requires some practice to get used to, but it's worth it because you can easily dominate lobbies with this thing if you work your aim and stay consistent with your position. If you try to rush people with it, it's probably not going to end well. But if you stick to cover and provide overwatch, it's amazing. Now we arrive at the top 5. The TAC-50, widely seen as the best sniper in the game right now, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's intended to be the lighter, faster sniper rifle that requires more precision in order to get consistent one-shot kills, which means it is yet another high-skill weapon that may or may not be your cup of tea. Depends on how you like to play this game. If you like sitting back and sniping more traditionally, the TAC-50 probably isn't going to sit well with you, but if you're more hyper-aggressive, that COD-style sniper, you're probably going to love this thing because the amount of potential it has, it's a lot. With the fire rate and the handling speeds being so quick, you can run around the map insta-killing people one right after another, assuming you get consistent with aiming high instead of pegging people in the waist like you can with the M44. It's a good gun, really good gun. Feels super old school to people who used to play COD on the Xbox 360 or the PS3, which is probably why I gravitate towards it. Aim high, you'll see why people love it. At number 4, the MP7. This is probably the best SMG in the game as of the making in this video. Features a great rate of fire, moderate damage per shot, massive ammo capacity, very manageable recoil. If you ever played Modern Warfare 3, the one from 2011, you probably remember how dominant the MP7 was in that game. When the X-Defiant version of the weapon, it kind of feels similar. Not quite as OP. If you like running around the map and getting in people's faces to spray them down, this is the best gun in the game for it. The time to kill on this thing is insane. Even if you back up to mid-range or longer, that TTK is still very competitive if you stay on target and hit your enemy in the chest or higher. It's versatile. It is. I think it's going to stay at the top of the SMG meta until Ubisoft makes some adjustments. It pretty easily outclasses everything else in the SMG category right now. Make an argument for one and let me know. At number 3, the M16. This gun has seen a massive rise in popularity since the launch of X-Defiant. I think that's largely thanks to people finally putting in the time to get good with it and figuring out what makes it click. It was initially written off by a lot of players due to the relatively low rate of fire, but it makes up for that fire rate with some insane damage stats. It has really good accuracy and an absurd theoretical time to kill if you get consistent with your aim. It's definitely one of the most high-skill weapons in the game right now. Because if you don't stay on target and you don't hit your shots consistently, you're probably going to absolutely hate it because it can definitely feel like people are bobbing and weaving in between your shots. But the sheer speed of that, I mean, the theoretical TTK, it's ridiculous. If you go up against somebody who knows what they're doing with this rifle, it's going to be hard to counter. Aim high, stay on target, don't get too aggressive, and it's probably your best friend. Definitely a top 3 weapon in the game as of the start of Season 1. At number 2, I called this the best gun in the game about a month ago when we did our initial ranking of the top 10 guns in the game, and I don't think it's number 1 anymore, but it's close. Honestly, I don't think there's any real downsides to the ACR. I didn't even tell you what gun it was, did I? The ACR. It's incredible. Moderate rate of fire, decent handling speeds, but insane damage per shot. Basically, no recoil. Does that sound familiar? It's a laser beam. It could absolutely melt people from close and long ranges. I can't even really think of anything wrong with the gun when it comes to assault rifles in an arcade shooter like this. But like I said, there is one other weapon. I think just edged it out. And I think it's even better now the community has time to mess around with it. Now we arrive at number 1. The best X-Defiant Season 1 weapon has to be the AK-47. It is dumb. It was even banned in gentlemen's agreements in competitive play. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I know for a fact that in the first couple weeks of the game's life cycle, the competitive players made the executive decision themselves to keep it out of rotation because it's just that good. Guess what? Ubisoft didn't nerf it with the Season 1 update, so it's still that good. Features a moderate rate of fire, relatively bouncy recoil, but that damage per shot, it's up there. Time to kill, one of the fastest in the entire game, both up close and at range. Even though the recoil can be a bit of a hurdle when you first start, you can basically eliminate it with a couple attachments, which more or less turns the AK into a better version of the ACR. The X-Defiant AK is almost certainly going to be nerfed in the near future, so make sure you get it ranked up before that happens. Go get those mastery camos because it's going to be really easy until that inevitable nerf comes and then everybody's going to be upset. As of the start of Season 1, the AK-47 is the best gun in the game in my opinion. I think there may be some disagreement on this, on the placements, but maybe we'll all agree on number 1. You let me know where I got it right. You let me know where I got it wrong. Let me know one gun that didn't make the list that was probably deserving, and I'll see you guys soon.